There's always been a thing. You know, sometimes we like to believe that people change. We are creatures of habit. Every movie you watched with a television set and a remote, a lot of us were fast forwarding movies. You know, to go past the boring parts and get to the interesting parts. The people who watch television, you see what they do on television with those series to keep attention. When I was listening to Mr. Beast and the science of going viral, when he tries to dissect what he does, he'll say things like, you don't keep the camera monotonously in one shoot, you don't keep one frame, keep it in the same frame throughout. So it's as if he films with, like, let's say the person is podcasting. From what he says, if I rephrase, you are supposed to film with, let's say, 6 cameras. Then you cut between each camera in a very creative, non-distracting way. You know, and those cuts keeps the brain looking. You know, so I've caught myself many times looking at a television set that didn't have anything going on. You know, it was the subscription for the cable television was expired, but it had these adverts. The adverts had a lot of cuts in it, and I stared at that thing for 15 minutes. I didn't know what I was looking at. You know, so those things have always been in. So now that you've heard me say it, the next time you watch a movie, just see how many seconds it takes for one, I don't know what they call it in videography, but where the cuts, you know, you're looking at something, then so it changes again, then it changes again, then it changes again, then it changes again. You know, I think it's usually 3-4 seconds, and then they change. Even when somebody's talking to, let's say the the protagonist or the villain is talking to whoever, you know, in a face-to-face conversation, the camera is not kept on his face until it's done. A lot of cutting goes on. You're cutting after 3-4 seconds to this person's reaction, then they cut to then they cut, you know. So the cuts maintain attention, and that has always been a thing in filming. It's just that when filming became decentralized to where everybody can now make a movie from the comfort of their room, that lesson had to be taught. You know, the principles that these very big studio houses we are using had to leak out, and then it looked like something new came. Not really. Our attentions have always been the price. The attention. People go as far as saying things like, they are not on television, don't touch the dial, don't go away, let's pay a bill and come back. Because they know when you shoot an advertisement or an advert, you can make people change the dial somewhere else. You know. So this is one, this is given, this is one. But the reason why short form content is a thing really is the fact that most of the content that is consumed on the internet is essentially the same thing. Essentially. So you want to hear it twice, 4 times in case you forgot, 6 times, and then you're out of it. You don't want to sit looking at the same thing over and over in what you call long form, or in the form that is, let's say, 12 minutes of somebody teaching how to save, teaching why a person should save money. You know, and then you turn of course, the algorithm is bringing the same thing you watched for you again in a different form, but it's assuming that's what you like to watch. It's a robot that you trained from your behavior, your screen time, trained robot. You know, so it brings another video of another creator talking about saving money in another light, but it's essentially the same. So at that point, you prefer to hear the shortest possible form of what that person wants to say and then on to the next thing, because you've heard this 7-8 times, and you've heard it from when you were a young person. You've always heard about saving money. You would appreciate to see different aspects of it. I've not thought about it like this. You know, you would appreciate that if there are going to be better presentations of the same thing, you know, but you're not going to appreciate it in a longer, probably boring form. This is what has given short form content life. It's essentially the same content being recycled. Essentially, when you go to my page, this page, you see we are saying almost the same thing all the time. Most of the biggest creators is the same thing they are repeating. And it's not even baseless to repeat what you're saying, because even the human brain, because of the amount of information that comes at the human brain per second, the repetition helps to keep the things we want to keep in front of us. The things you want to keep top of mind, you need repetition to be able to keep them top of mind, because of the amount of information that comes at, and the speed the information comes at us. So there's nothing wrong with repetition. I'm just saying it's not completely a question of attention going down. That's not even necessarily totally the reason why short form content is a thing. It's because people are listening to the same thing over and over again. So if I have to listen to the same thing 10 times, I'll appreciate it if it's in short form. You don't want to take 15 minutes to tell me why I should save money. If you're going to do it in 15 minutes, then you have to do 15 very interesting minutes. Very, very is the keyword. So that means you have to turn your camera upside down, come from the roof, hang with your leg on the roof, come like 50 Cent with your head down. You have to do all those hook me in, to show me flashy images, do all that to try to keep my attention while you repeat what I already know. Otherwise, let that whole thing be compressed and go straight to the point. So that's it. That's what feeds, not attention. Attention has always been the price. Every person who is making anything that people will look at and listen to would usually have to do some work to keep the person on whatever it is they made. So it's not, attention didn't collapse, really, not really. Attention spans didn't drop, not really. That's always been the same. It's just that we created new producers, new movie directors. Everybody who is a social media influencer, everybody who creates content is today's day and age media house. You're a media house by yourself with your phone. So the principles that the media house is operated for years, decades, are now available for these new media houses. Because the audience didn't change, the customer didn't change, just the producers changed.